Nobody expected the story to explode like this. At first, it looked like another internet rumor, another random connection, another name getting dragged into online speculation for clicks. But then screenshots started spreading. Old interviews resurfaced, archived photos appeared. And suddenly, people weren't just asking questions about Erika Kirk anymore. They were asking why her name kept appearing alongside Victor Marx. And that's when everything changed. Because this wasn't just some casual association people could ignore. The deeper internet investigators dug, the stranger the timeline became. The overlaps, the sudden silence, carefully worded responses. It all started feeling less like coincidence and more like damage control. What happened next shocked everyone, especially because nobody realized how deep this connection actually went at first. Most people didn't even know who Victor Marx was. To some, he was a speaker, an activist, a man with a dramatic backstory and a powerful online presence. But to others, he was something far more polarizing. A figure constantly surrounded by controversy, emotional narratives, and intense public reactions. Supporters called him inspirational. Critics called him manipulative. And somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, Erika Kirk's name suddenly entered the conversation. Not quietly, violently. The internet immediately split into two sides. One group insisted the entire situation was overblown. They argued people were connecting dots that meant nothing, that social media had become addicted to conspiracy and outrage. But the other side, they weren't convinced, because once people noticed the connection, they started noticing everything else. To dot the timing, dot the interactions, the mutual circles, dot the unexplained disappearances from public view. And then came the clips. Short video. Fragments began circulating online. Old live stream moments, event appearances, tiny details most people ignored at the time. But now, viewed through a completely different lens, those moments suddenly felt uncomfortable, even eerie. People started asking the same terrifying question: what exactly was happening behind the scenes? And nobody seemed ready to answer it. That's when the panic really started. Because internet mysteries don't grow slowly anymore. They detonate. One viral post becomes 10. 10 become thousands. Algorithms begin feeding suspicion into suspicion, until suddenly an entire narrative forms in real time. And this narrative was getting darker by the hour. Some users claimed Erika's behavior changed after the connection became public. Others pointed to interviews where her tone suddenly shifted whenever certain topics came up. A few even claimed there were signs of emotional stress hidden in plain sight long before the controversy exploded. Not stress, fear. At least, that's what people online believed. And once audiences believe there's fear involved, they start looking for who caused it. That's when investigators uncovered something even stranger. The people surrounding both names suddenly became harder to track. Publicly, posts vanished. Mentions disappeared. Counts stopped interacting. Entire conversations looked like they had been quietly erased from the internet. Now, maybe that meant nothing. Or maybe it meant someone realized the story was spiraling out of control. But either way, it only fueled the speculation. Because silence online doesn't calm people anymore. It terrifies them. Especially when the questions keep multiplying. Why did this connection remain mostly unnoticed for so long? Who first exposed it publicly? And why did reactions seem so carefully measured afterward? That last part disturbed people the most. Nothing felt natural, no emotional explosion, no immediate denial, no aggressive pushback. Just this strange atmosphere of controlled tension. Like everyone involved understood something serious was unfolding, but nobody wanted to say the wrong thing first. And viewers noticed every pause, every facial expression, every missing explanation. Then investigators found another detail that changed everything. The timeline didn't fully add up. Certain public appearances reportedly overlapped in ways people hadn't realized before. Online communities began mapping events, screenshots, photos, and archived interactions together like detectives building a conspiracy board. The deeper they went, the more intense the theories became. Some believed this was simply a misunderstood association blown out of proportion by internet hysteria. Others believed there was a much bigger story hidden underneath, a story nobody wanted exposed. And honestly, that's when the narrative changed completely, because the conversation stopped being about one connection. It became about influence, control, image management, and the terrifying power of online perception. People began revisiting old statements, from Erika Kirk analyzing her words frame by frame. Every sentence became evidence to someone. Every hesitation became suspicious. Entire channels started producing breakdown videos claiming there were hidden meanings buried inside ordinary conversations. And once that starts happening online, there's almost no way to stop it. The internet doesn't investigate calmly. It consumes, especially when emotion enters the story. And emotion was everywhere now. Some viewers defended Erika passionately, arguing she was being unfairly targeted by people desperate for a scandal. Others insisted the criticism was justified because public figures should answer difficult questions when connections become controversial. But then came the biggest twist yet. People started focusing less on what was proven and more on what wasn't being said. That silence became the story, because unanswered questions create obsession, and obsession creates theories. Suddenly, old clips that once looked harmless felt loaded with tension. Tiny moments became evidence. Ordinary interactions turned into viral analysis threads. Internet creators began competing to uncover new angles, new screenshots, new timelines, and each upload pushed the situation further into chaos. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was how emotionally charged the entire conversation became. You could feel the paranoia spreading. People weren't just debating facts anymore, they were choosing sides emotionally. That's always when online controversies become dangerous, because facts can calm people, emotions cannot. And once audiences emotionally attach themselves to a theory, every new detail becomes confirmation. Every contradiction becomes proof of a cover-up. Every silence becomes suspicious. That's exactly what happened here. Then another disturbing realization hit viewers. Nobody could even agree on what the truth was anymore. Some believed Erika Kirk was being unfairly pulled into someone else's controversy. Others believed the public had only scratched the surface of something. It's much darker, and the more confusion spread, the bigger the story became. Channels exploded with speculation. Comment sections turned hostile. Entire communities formed around decoding fragments of information. It stopped feeling like gossip. It started feeling like an unfolding psychological thriller. And somewhere inside all that noise sat one terrifying possibility. What if the public still doesn't know the full story? That question changed everything, because once audiences suspect hidden information exists, they never stop searching, and the search only intensified after certain clips reportedly began disappearing from circulation. Whether removed intentionally or lost in algorithm chaos, nobody knew. But their disappearance created even more suspicion. People immediately asked why. Why now? Why those clips specifically? Why did everything suddenly feel so controlled? That's when internet investigators thought they finally understood the situation. They were wrong, because another layer emerged, a darker one. People started examining not just the connection itself, but the reactions surrounding it. Who defended whom? Who stayed silent? Who suddenly distanced themselves? who acted nervous during live streams, and once again, every detail became magnified. Even normal behavior started looking suspicious. That's the terrifying thing about viral controversies. Eventually, perception becomes reality, and reality becomes impossible to separate from speculation. By this point, Erika Kirk was being discussed across platforms by people who had never even heard her name before. The story escaped its original audience and entered mainstream. Internet culture, that's when things became uncontrollable, because viral narratives evolve faster than facts ever can. One theory leads to another, one accusation sparks 10 more, and before anyone realizes what's happening, the original story mutates into something much bigger, something almost impossible to contain. But then, investigators uncovered one final detail that sent the internet into complete meltdown. According to online speculation, several people connected to the broader situation allegedly began avoiding public discussion altogether. No clarification, no direct confrontation. Just distance. Cold distance. And two audiences already suspicious. That looked catastrophic, because people interpreted the silence as confirmation. Whether fair or not, whether accurate or not, that's what made this entire situation so explosive. Nobody knew where the truth ended and internet mythology began. And maybe that's why this story keeps growing, because unresolved mysteries are addictive, especially when emotions influence and public image collide at the center of it all. Even now, viewers remain divided. Was this entire controversy manufactured by online paranoia? Or did the public accidentally uncover connections certain people never expected to become visible? And if more information surfaces later, how much worse could this get? Question still haunts the internet, because despite all the debates, all the theories, all the viral breakdowns, one thing remains undeniable. People are still searching for answers, still analyzing, still questioning, still watching, and maybe the most disturbing part of all is that this story still doesn't feel finished, not even close. So what do you think? Was really happening behind the scenes? Do you believe this was internet manipulation spiraling out of control? Or was there something deeper hidden beneath the surface the entire time? Leave your theory in the comments, because every discussion pushes this story further into the spotlight. And the more people asking questions, the harder it becomes for details to stay buried. And if new revelations appear, you already know. This story could explode again overnight, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close, because something about this situation still feels unfinished. And sometimes the silence tells the darkest story of all.